condense all those concerns into this resolution so that we could forecast it out to all the other counties in RCRC and CSAC and those types of things. So I certainly want to hear more input. This can be changed. We do have time. We have another meeting on the 18th, which would still allow for the creation and the massaging of this to be discussed and then approved or disapproved, then handed off to the supervisor to take to the ARB meeting. So more concerns. Supervisor.
Well, you know, this, first of all, if this regulation is just delayed for another, in other words, they add another year on each of the implementation dates, it still puts the, and I'm not, not forget about, but it's a massive impact on people that own all types of equipment. But as far as our Department of Transportation, basically it would put every piece of equipment that we have in mothballs. We couldn't use it. You might as well junk it out, because, so it's a huge economic impact. And I don't care if they delay this impact for another year or two. Do you really think that the county would have enough money to spend probably $20 million or more to buy all new upgraded equipment in just our Department of Transportation? So it would basically put us out of the road maintenance business. And I don't know who would do it, because everybody else would be in the same shape. Then you get into the private sector, it would shut down probably every logger, every person that's working on a road or doing anything. Diesel engines are what runs this country. So I think there's members from the public here want to speak.
Yeah. Supervisor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, since, as the chair's stating, that we do have another meeting, so maybe Mr. Brown could meet with council to review it. But I think that he's come up with some very good language here, and I think we have to look at the substance here. It talks about diesel particulate is a significant health risk in densely populated areas. The risks are greatly reduced in rural communities with lower traffic volumes and population densities. I mean, he's got a lot of good things in the whereases and the specifics here that can actually be taken to the board. I think we also heard that the board was really not listening to rural counties, that actually Mr. Brown's association of the air quality control officers was not meeting with very much success here. So I think I think it's going to be sort of limited as to the effect we can have, but I think he's got some very good components here. The proposed air toxic control measure does not take into account the unique operational demands and equipment usage of agricultural and timber operations in rural communities. I mean, I think he's got the key talking points are here that they need to be paying attention to. So I think it's good in the sense of, he's got a page and a half here of good specifics that can be highlighted with respect to Mendocino County. We have received an A rating in the American Lung Association's State of the Air report. So all these things combined point to how this is an inappropriate measure for our rural community, and I'm sure that Supervisor Delbar will carry that message forward in a very good manner. So if we can make some changes to it, if council could meet with Mr. Brown, maybe we could bring that back in a week.
And before I go, I'm sorry, Supervisor Delbar.
Well, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Just a quick comment. I think the bark is pretty good. It's the bite of this thing that it doesn't hurt. And that's where Supervisor Pinches is referring to, is what we're asking for is a delay until those economic impacts are studied. Well, that's fine, except that doesn't really relay the concerns that we have about the effectiveness of this for Mendocino County and then the impacts that it will have here. So I think that's the part, it's the bite that needs to be reworked. All the whereases before we get there are great. I concur with Supervisor Smith, but there needs to be more to it than what we have here.
Supervisor Pinson?
Yeah, just to reiterate, it's really it's kind of like all these whereases are fine, and all those, like you stated, Supervisor Smith, those are all great points. But basically what the resolution says, yeah, we have all these impacts and we can't deal with it, but if you just give us another 6 months or a year, everything will be fine. And the point of it is, it's not gonna be fine if this is imposed. It's basically gonna bring, well, it's larger than Mendocino County, but when we're talking about just Mendocino County, it's gonna put just about everybody out of business, including our own Department of Transportation. And I don't know if Howard has figures of what it would take to buy upgraded, all-new, brand-new equipment, but I'm sure it's probably in the close to the $20 million figure. And where would we come up with even part of that? You know, and what would we do? Do that over a 30-year period? In other words, we would start and with maybe buy one new dump truck and then wait for 2 more years and we'd get another one. And then maybe after 5 years, we could buy a new grader. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, and we heard testimony here a few months ago that 35% of our bad air in California actually is traced to Canada, or traced from China. We're actually in partnership with the University of California of putting a monitoring device up on Signal west of Laytonville to codify that that's what's really happening. And remember that we put up $5,000 as a partnership to put that device on Signal. So yet we're going to be the ones that are penalized. And keep in mind, we haven't had a non-attainment day in this county outside of the fires in a long, long while. But we're going to take the same brunt of it as the